China has done it again. In just 38 months, engineers built a railway station so massive it makes New York's Grand Central look small. This is Chongqing East Railway Station, the largest train station on Earth. A structure the size of 170 football fields, sitting in the middle of steep mountains once considered impossible to cross. But here's what makes it extraordinary. This isn't Beijing or Shanghai. It's Chongqing, a megacity of more than 30 million people carved into cliffs and river valleys, long cut off from the rest of China. For decades, it was one of the hardest cities in the country to reach. Now, high-speed trains race out of it at 350 kilometers per hour, connecting it to Shanghai in under 4 hours. So how did China pull off something this extreme? And why here? Why spend billions carving through mountains to build a rail hub bigger than anything the West has attempted in half a century? The answer lies in a national mission: to connect the interior with the coasts, to balance growth across an entire continent-sized nation. And Chongqing East is the blueprint for that vision. A project built not just for passengers, but for power, momentum, and national reach. Because this isn't only about a train station. It's about how China is rewriting the rules of modern infrastructure, and what happens when engineering ambition meets political will. To understand how they did it, we have to go inside the mountain city where raw terrain, pressure, and precision collided. Chongqing is unlike any other major city in China. It rises from a maze of steep hills and rivers, a concrete jungle suspended between cliffs. From above, it looks like an island of towers, with bridges curling like veins across fog-covered valleys. For centuries, it was called the Mountain City, and for good reason. The landscape itself resisted progress. Roads, tunnels, and rail lines all had to fight gravity. Frequent landslides and unstable soil made large-scale construction painfully slow. Even after China's high-speed rail boom began, Chongqing remained a bottleneck, one of the last megacities not fully tied into the national network. The terrain simply made it too difficult and too expensive. But there was a bigger problem. China's growth had become dangerously uneven. Wealth and industry were concentrated along the coast, in cities like Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou, while the vast western interior lagged behind. For Beijing's planners, that imbalance wasn't just economic. It was political. A modern superpower couldn't afford a massive inland region disconnected from trade, talent, and opportunity. That's where the idea for this station began. A single megaproject that could flip the map, turning an isolated mountain basin into the gateway to Western China. This wasn't about convenience. It was about connection. If China could bring its high-speed network deep into its most rugged terrain, it would prove that no part of the country was beyond reach. And in 2021, they decided to try. The challenge ahead wasn't only to build big, it was to build faster than any engineer thought possible. A race against gravity, geology, and time itself. The story began in early 2021. A quiet hillside on the southeast edge of Chongqing was chosen for something unprecedented. A train station larger than any ever built. The site sat on fractured rock, surrounded by unstable slopes. If you asked most engineers, they would have said it couldn't be done. But China's construction machine was already moving. In a matter of weeks, thousands of workers and heavy machinery flooded the site. Excavators carved through layers of clay and limestone. Entire ridgelines were leveled to make room for foundations that would support 1.22 million square meters of structure, an area equal to 170 football fields. And the clock was ticking. The government wanted it finished in just 38 months. To build that fast, China used every advantage of its centralized system. Design, logistics, and labor worked in parallel. While one team dug, another was already assembling prefabricated steel sections. Construction never stopped, day or night. Crews rotated in shifts, so the site never went silent. And to keep precision high, they brought in robotic concrete pourers, automated glass installation arms, and laser-based surveying systems that mapped the ground in real time. The structure itself was designed like a living organism. 15 platforms and 29 tracks were stacked over multiple levels, allowing passengers to move in every direction without delay. Tree-shaped steel columns rose from the floor, branching upward to carry a roof made of glass and ETFE cushions, the same high-strength polymer used in Olympic stadiums. This roof floods the interior with sunlight, cutting energy use while giving the space an open, almost cathedral-like atmosphere. Even the surrounding transport lines were built as part of the plan. Metro lines, regional trains, and airport connections were all woven into the foundation, creating a hub where one transfer could send a traveler across the country. By the end of 2023, the station was already taking shape, a sea of cranes, scaffolding, and shimmering metal rising above the misty valleys of Chongqing. For 3 years, the city's skyline changed every month. And against all odds, they stayed on schedule. When the final steel beam was lifted into place, engineers had done what most thought impossible. They built the world's largest train station, in a city that had once been nearly unreachable, and they did it in record time. By June 2025, the station officially opened its doors. And from the first day, it redefined what a train terminal could be. The station wasn't just operational, it was synchronized like a machine. Every hour, high-speed trains shoot out of the platforms at 350 kilometers per hour, linking a once isolated mountain city to the rest of China. A trip to Chengdu, which once took nearly 5 hours, now takes just over 1. A ride to Shanghai, across more than 1,600 kilometers, can be done in under 4. At full capacity, the station can move 16,000 passengers per hour, more than most Western terminals handle in an entire day. The magnitude is staggering. 15 platforms span multiple levels, connected by vertical transport systems that guide passengers like moving rivers of steel and glass. Beneath them, subway lines, regional trains, and airport transfers merge seamlessly into a single network. The first time such an integrated layout has ever been achieved in China's mountainous west. This design means you can land at Chongqing Airport, hop on a metro, and board a high-speed train to Shanghai, all without ever leaving the building. The architecture itself reinforces the purpose. The massive tree-like columns support a translucent roof that glows in the daylight, while the ETFE cushions filter heat and light. Sensors embedded in the structure monitor air quality, passenger flow, and even vibration from nearby traffic. Maintenance drones crawl under the roof panels at night, checking for damage or leaks. The whole building is a living system designed to run almost continuously. But what truly stands out is how it fits into the bigger map. This one hub connects western China directly to the coast, through new high-speed corridors reaching Guangzhou, Shanghai, and the Yangtze Delta. It also anchors the Chengdu, Chongqing Economic Circle, a 2-hour megaregion housing tens of millions of people. From here, rail lines now stretch in every direction, reshaping how goods and people move across the entire southwest. For China, Chongqing East wasn't built just to solve a local problem. It was built to shift the country's economic gravity, to prove that geography no longer decides destiny. And while the West struggles with decades-old stations and endless delays, China's network continues to stretch farther and faster. But the deeper question is, why push this hard? Why pour so much into one inland hub, when others can't even finish their renovations? To understand why this station exists, you have to think beyond steel and concrete. Throughout most of its history, China's economy leaned heavily on its coastline. Cities like Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou became symbols of success, while inland regions lagged behind. That imbalance created a silent tension, a nation split between the connected and the forgotten. So Beijing changed its playbook. The new strategy was simple but radical. Pull the interior closer to the coast through infrastructure. Highways, tunnels, and rail lines would not only move people, they'd move opportunity. And Chongqing East was chosen as the keystone of that plan. By placing a mega-hub in the mountains, China could channel manufacturing, logistics, and investment deeper inland. It would shorten the path between Western factories and Eastern ports, turning Chongqing into a logistical artery instead of a dead end. Every minute saved on transport means billions gained in trade, and that's the kind of math China understands perfectly. Beyond economics, it also projects power. The acceleration at which China builds has become part of its global image. Projects like this tell the world that China can turn ambition into reality. Elsewhere, projects stall in red tape. Where the US and Europe spend years arguing over permits, China mobilizes thousands overnight. That difference isn't only cultural, it's structural. A centralized system can plan, fund, and execute at lightning pace, with little room for delay. It's efficiency born from control. Still, even inside China, voices question the cost. Building at such pace demands immense coordination and enormous capital. The state calls it balanced development. Critics call it overreach, growth chased faster than it can be sustained. But to Beijing, the trade-off is worth it. Every new rail link tightens the weave of a nation designed to move as one. For now, Chongqing East stands as the visible symbol of that strategy, a mountain city turned into a continental crossroads. Yet behind the shine of glass and speed, a quieter question lingers. How long can this model keep running before it reaches its limit? Behind every record-breaking project, there's a bill, and this one is enormous. The true cost of this high-stakes railway station has never been officially released, but estimates run into several $billion, not counting the new rail corridors it feeds. That secrecy is typical for China's state megaprojects, where costs are often buried under layers of provincial and national budgets. But one thing is clear, this wasn't cheap, and it wasn't risk-free. The city sits on complex geology, fractured rock, clay, and sand. To stabilize the foundations, engineers had to inject concrete deep underground and constantly monitor for shifts in the hillside. That meant delays, redesigns, and huge resource demands. Even so, the project finished on time, because stopping wasn't an option. When Beijing sets a target, construction moves until it's done. Now that it's open, another challenge begins, keeping it full. The station was designed for 16,000 passengers per hour, a scale that requires relentless traffic to stay profitable. If passenger numbers ever fall short, maintenance alone could turn it into a financial sinkhole, the kind engineers call a white elephant. And maintenance is a constant battle. Smart systems monitor every beam, cable, and floor section for wear. Drones inspect roof joints at night. Autonomous cleaners roam the platforms. The ETFE roof cushions, the same material used in Olympic stadiums, must be replaced periodically, each one costing thousands. It's a marvel of design, but one that demands constant attention and money. Yet the biggest cost isn't financial. It's systemic. China's construction pace has outgrown traditional oversight. When you build this much, this fast, the country locks itself into a cycle of perpetual maintenance and modernization. Every new station adds pressure to keep spending, upgrading, and expanding, or risk losing momentum. So while Chongqing East stands as proof of what China can do, it's also a warning. High efficiency has a price. And one day, the question might not be how fast China can build, but how long it can sustain the world it's created. Chongqing East is a declaration that even the hardest landscapes can be reshaped by sheer will. In less than 4 years, China carved a mountain into glass and steel, turned an isolated basin into a global gateway, and proved that speed itself can be a form of power. Each pillar, each platform, each shimmering roof tile tells the same story, that this country refuses to slow down. While other nations patch up old tracks and argue over funding, China builds new cities around its stations. Its infrastructure is ideology, a lesson written in concrete. We move faster than you can imagine. But speed can cut both ways. Every kilometer of high-speed rail, every new megaproject, ties China deeper into a system that never sleeps. It demands constant motion, more lines, more cities, more growth, or it risks collapsing under its own momentum. Chongqing East may be the pride of the interior today, but its success will depend on whether China can keep its economy racing as fast as its trains. Because this station isn't the finish line. It's the starting point of something much bigger, a western expansion that could redraw the country's map. Dozens of similar hubs are already planned, stretching from the mountains of Sichuan to the deserts of Xinjiang, each one pushing the limits of what's possible, and each one carrying the same question. How far can this go before something breaks? When the lights flicker on each morning and the first trains surge out, they're not just carrying passengers. They're carrying a message to the world and to the future. Because if China can build this in 38 months, what exactly will it build next?